everybody. So sorry I'm late. I had some computer issues and couldn't print out some of the questions that were asked of me, so I decided to start a little late. But thanks for watching. I appreciate you. So I decided to do this Facebook Live and just, it's Friday. I was going to do this outside, but as you can probably hear, my neighbor or one of my neighbors is doing lawn work, and I wasn't able to hear myself, and I'm sure you weren't going to be able to hear me. So I decided to come back to my palatial office, the 10 by 12 closet, and answer some questions that have been asked by first-time sellers and first-time home buyers about selling their home, buying their new house, and what's involved in those things in transactions. So let me go ahead and get started with the seller's questions, and you can still send your questions in if you like, and I can if I can I'll respond to it. I'm going to try to keep this short because my kids are eating downstairs, so I'm going to go join them for dinner. But I want to get this done before then. So one question I was asked by a seller is how much needs to be done to my house before putting it on the market. This is one of the questions I get asked often when I go to a listing appointment. Obviously the sellers want to make sure the house is in showing condition, and so they ask me, what they need to do. Very often the seller needs to do far less than they expect. So usually, at least the homes I've gone into, they're pretty good shape. They just need to be decluttered. That's the first thing I tell my sellers is please just to go ahead and declutter, take most of the personal pictures down. Just put yourself in the shoes of the buyer. What do you expect to see when you walk through somebody's house? Do you want to see lots of boxes? Do you want to see lots of pictures all over the walls? Probably not. So it's important to declutter your house. You want to make sure that the buyer, when they walk through your house, they can picture themselves in that house, picture their stuff in there, and that would help probably sell your house. The second question, and of course, if the house needs staging, so that's another question I get asked, do I need to stage my house? So I say yes, because on average, a staged home sells 88% faster and for 20% more money than a non-staged home. So it's if you don't have a sense of I don't know how to stage my home, but that's why I rely on stagers. I have a really good one that I work with. So if you don't have a sense of staging or don't know what to do to make your house look appealing to a buyer, obviously, as I said, it's probably a good idea to spend that extra money and get a professional stager to come in and really stage your homes. These people, the stagers, are familiar with the trends and familiar with the typical buyers looking for, especially a buyer that's interested in buying a house like yours. So I would definitely recommend a stager to come in and help you with that. As I said, the homes that are staged sell 88% faster for 20% more money. So that's probably you would probably most likely get that money back, the money you spent on staging back in the sale of your house. Let's see. Another question I get asked is, should I be present when buyers view my house? I have to say a big no. When a buyer comes into your house and views your house with their agent, they want to feel comfortable and to talk to their agents privately. and you know, they want to say whatever they want and not have run the risk of offending the seller, because, you know, as sellers, our house is our castle. So you know, we don't want to hear anything negative about said about our house, especially if we lived there for a long time and we're attached to it. So I would say no, don't be present. Let the buyer have the freedom to go around your house and kind of picture the home as their own. And of course, you know, that theory is kind of out the window nowadays, with most homes having security cameras and you know, cameras in every room. So, but still, it's there's no need for the seller to be present at home at the house when it's being shown. All right, let's touch on some buyers questions. The most popular question I get asked is where do I get started with buying a house? You know, as a first time home buyer, buying your first home is very scary. So many thoughts are going through your head. You get buyer's remorse. So you know, you want a realtor who can lay out a plan and let you know what's ahead of you, what the process is, to make things simpler for you as a first time home buyer. So the first thing I tell my buyers is before even thinking about buying a house or looking at a house, it's best for you to get pre-qualified, pre-approved by a mortgage lender. That's the very first thing. And then once you get pre-approved and you get your pre-approval letter in your hand, then then you and I can sit down and start talking about what type of home you're looking for, what's best for you and your family, what features you want in a house, and obviously, especially in the Atlanta area, the location is key, because you definitely don't want to be living, you know, an hour away from your work and have to deal with the traffic. So the first thing that it's best to do as a first-time home buyer, or any kind of home buyer, not even first time, is to get pre-approved and to have that pre-approval letter in your hand. And also that gives you leverage when you find your favorite home and you want to put an offer in, especially now in this market, a seller's market, where sellers are sort of hold the key to the transaction, because of low inventory. It's beneficial for a buyer to have that pre-approval letter in hand, and send that pre-approval letter with the offer, to let the seller know that you are a ready, willing, and able buyer, and you're not messing around. So that's that. So again, that pre-approval letter in hand is a key. Another question I was asked and please, if you want to send your questions in, please do so, and I will try to get it answered. Another question I had was what is the difference between conventional and FHA loan, and what's best for me or for the buyer? Well, that depends on the buyer situation. Obviously, a conventional loan is less strict loan type of loan, and if you put down more than 20% down payment, you don't have to pay private mortgage insurance, or PMI. So that's a good thing. Conventional loan does require a higher credit score, but that's okay. You know, it's the higher your credit score, the less interest rates you probably have to pay. And but FHA loan is a government-backed loan, and it's administered by Federal Housing Administration. And the good thing about FHA loan is that it requires lower credit score, and But the bad thing is that no matter what your down payment is, you have to pay um, mortgage insurance premium. So regardless of, as I said, regardless of what your down payment is, usually the upfront cost is 1.75%, um, and um, and then whatever your rate is, you would have to pay the variable annual fee on that. The 1.75% is the percentage on the loan amount. Um, let's see. The other thing about FHA loan is that it's a great loan for first-time home buyers. Usually, most of the time, as I said, requires lower down payment, but it also gives you can qualify for assistance with down payment. Georgia offers a few first-time homebuyer assistant programs, um, but they're not cookie cutter, and they're not good for everybody. So the best thing to do is to talk to your mortgage lender and or mortgage broker, and they will be able to help you more um, about what loan fits your needs and where to go from there. And again, I have a list of really good mortgage lenders, preferred mortgage lenders that I work with, and I've been working with for a while. So you can call on them, and they'll be able to help you out. And for that, call me, and I'll let you know. Um, Another question I had was from a dear friend of mine, and he asked, with Corona causing an unexpected but overdue market correction, when do you expect real estate prices to be affected, go down? So that's interesting because real estate prices in the Atlanta area, and I think it's true with many major cities in the nation, because we are experiencing such low inventory in available homes. The COVID-19 pandemic hasn't really affected the real estate market in Atlanta. It's still pretty strong. Prices are holding steady, and often some places are going up still. So it doesn't have the same effect on the real estate market as let's say the 2008 2009 real estate downturn did. It's a totally different animal. What we went through 12 years ago, and then what we're going through right now, it's not even comparable. They're caused by different things. So right now, so far, it hasn't had that much an effect on the home values. Now, it has had an effect on the sellers and buyers' behavior, mostly because of the stay and shelter requirements and things like that. But as far as the prices are concerned, I haven't really seen any significant effect on home prices here in the Atlanta market. In fact, it's interesting. I was doing some research for this, and in Cobb County, where I live and where I mostly work, the average days on the market was about hovering around 35 to 40 days in January and February, but in March and so far in April, ever since the stay in shelter and COVID-19 came into play, the days on the market has actually gone down, and it's hovering around 15, 20 days now. So homes are selling faster and quicker, and in some instances, there are multiple offers on homes still. And that's because the inventory is so low in certain price ranges. That price range is right now below 350. Homes below 350 are going pretty quickly, as long as they're priced correctly. And that's the thing about it's a good note for sellers. Pricing your home correctly is the key. So usually when a realtor comes and does a listing appointment with you, they usually do a market analysis. And if they do the market analysis correctly, and they price the home correctly, par to what market bears, your house should sell pretty quickly. And obviously, I do that. That goes without saying. And the second question is so I don't just to follow up on that question. I don't foresee the market, the COVID-19 and coronavirus affecting the prices here in the Atlanta area. As far as making the prices go down, I don't see that, because as I said, our home prices are strong, and they're going up in some areas. The Alpharetta area, Buckhead, those, they're going. Even Cobb County is doing great. So we're sitting pretty good. The second question from my friend Jesse, he says, what are some of the new lending underwriting guidelines being implemented due to Corona? How are they affecting people looking to purchase? So that, in that respect, Corona has made some affected some areas. The minimum required credit score has gone up. It used to be, many lenders would lend down to 580. Now, many lenders are not lending for less than 640. One of the lenders that I use, they're doing as low as 600, which is great. So let me know, and I would give you their name. As far as the so that's how it's and the lending requirements. The way it's affecting the lending requirements is that they're becoming more stringent on qualifying criteria. So unfortunately, one thing that this COVID-19 has done to many of us is many of us have lost our jobs or been furloughed, and so in that respect, the lending requirements have gotten a little bit more stringent. What was I going to say? Oh, and also another thing that's gotten that's been affected by COVID, obviously, is the closing requirements. So many attorneys are not doing personal closings, or closings through virtual closings, doing curbside closings. So and your realtor will be able to help you with that. So in that respect, coronavirus has affected those areas. But as far as the prices, it really hasn't affected the prices. How are they affecting people looking to purchase? Well, it's with stay in shelter. Many sellers require the buyers to take precautions when they walk through their house. So many sellers are requiring shoe covers and masks and gloves and hand sanitizers and things like that. What we've done is we've changed our process. We've implemented virtual showing, virtual open house. So which is actually pretty cool. I did one the other day, and it worked fine. The buyer was able to really get a good perspective of what the house looks like, so it's in that respect we've made some changes, and that's kind of changed the mindset of buyers and sellers on the process of selling and buying and selling homes. Last question is, let's see, pity. What is pity? Pity is, and when I first got into real estate and I heard about that acronym, You know, it's just always funny to me, especially when you hear Southerners say it. But PD is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So quickly, I'm going to go over this. So principal is the amount you owe before the interest is added. So if you buy a $250,000 home, and let's say you put down 20%, which is $50,000, your principal is $200,000. And then the $200,000 that you borrow from the bank, obviously, as you know, they will charge you interest on it, because they're not going to give you free money. The banks don't love us that much, so they will put an interest on it. So that's the I in pity, and then taxes, the T in taxes. You know, the old saying goes that in this world nothing is certain except death and taxes. So we always have to pay taxes on anything we buy. And the general rule for property taxes is $1 for every $1,000 of home value every month. So if you buy a $250,000 home, the property taxes would be probably about $250 a month, or $3,000 a year. Now I'm talking general. Obviously, your realtor will do a buyer worksheet and cost to buyer worksheet, and they will itemize all those the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and let you know how much you're going to be owing. Obviously your lender will do that too. And then last thing was insurance. Insurance is not required by every state. In fact, Georgia does not require you to have home insurance, but some lenders do. In fact, many lenders do. They want to protect their asset, which is the house. When they go get a loan, you are putting your new home as collateral, and the lender wants to protect that collateral, and they don't want you to burn it down or flood it or something and not be able to repair it, not be able to afford to repair it. So they ask for insurance on the home. Now, obviously, if you pay cash for the house, you don't involve a lender. You don't have to have insurance on the house, but unless you're rich enough to be able to afford the entire cost of the home. If something happens, if a disaster happens, if it burns down, it floods, or a tree falls on it, or whatever, unless you have the cash to pay for the house to rebuild it, then it's probably a good idea to get insurance on it. Last question. I know I said the last was the last question. This is the last question. It's a really, really good question. One of my friends, who is actually a first-time home buyer, asked me, what is the question? Asked me what's a good plan of action for someone who's looking to buy a home in the next year or so, given today's economy. So what I say is a good plan of action is to, as I said, to first get pre-qualified, pre-approved by a lender, to make sure that you have that pre-approval letter in your hand. That also gives you an idea of how much house you can afford, so you won't be spinning your wheel looking at homes that are either above your affordability or below your means. So you want to make sure you get that in hand. And what I also tell my home buyers and clients is to make sure that before you even think about buying a house, to have at least 3 months of emergency funds in your bank account, because God forbid, rainy days happen. In fact, we're going through some sort of a rainy day right now. You want to make sure that you're able to afford your mortgage for at least next 2-3 months. Make sure to be able to afford to feed your family. So you know, the house, your new home can wait. So before you even think about going and getting your new home, make sure you have a 3-month reserve in your bank account for the rainy day. I am going to end it here, but I would like to do this again. So please send in your questions. I'm going to go ahead and do a drawing tonight for a gift card for my, you know, it's a random drawing, and give it to one of these people who's sent me questions. But please send me your questions. Please let me know if there are videos that you'd like me to do, real estate videos. You can send them to topics@path2sold.com. Topics@path2sold.com, and I will do a video based on the suggestions that I get. Thank you so much. Have a great Friday, and my daughter's walking in, so I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks. See ya. Thank you for watching the Masoudpour Minute. Please click on the subscribe button and also the bell button, and you'll be notified next time a video comes out. Thank you again for your support. Go ahead, get it done now. All right.